Hey y'all, SEMA 2017, and I got an 87 IROC that Detroit Speed built, and this is one of my favorite cars I've ever had, and I'm glad to see people starting to do it. Let me get the camera turned around and we'll take a quick look at it. Ryan, thanks so much for giving me some time this morning, brother.
Yeah, no problem. Good to finally get in touch and talk with you, Scotty.
I know you all are busy over there, and I appreciate you taking some time to tell me a little bit about this Camaro that you had out at SEMA.
Yep. Yeah, it was quite the build that we've worked on. Started it in late summer, early fall of 2016, and it pretty much took us all the way to September of this year, and pretty much debuted it at LS Fest this year.
How has the car been received?
It's been very popular. Alex and Matt, Matt was the main guy that did most of the build. He kind of carried on with the car fabrication, in through paint and body, and then all the way through wiring and final assembly. Him and Alex, our social media guy, did a lot of promoting on Facebook, mainly, and I think some on Instagram. So it was heavily promoted even during the build through all that, and then they really continued to promote it after it was finished and at LS Fest, and they got a tremendous amount of interest and a lot of questions about the car. I can tell you that.
Yeah, tell me, I'm a big fan of the third-gen Camaro, so I was glad to see you put something together like this. I mean, is it an R&D car? Y'all have parts for these? What's the story behind it?
Yep, that's the main purpose of it. We have an R&D test car fleet here at Detroit Speed, and it was built in that shop for that purpose. We use the car to develop a lot of our third-gen suspension and chassis product line, and then we'll continue to campaign the car throughout this upcoming year and years after to show what the product can do and help people hopefully get interested in these third-gen F-body cars, and then hopefully show how our parts can help them handle better and ultimately make the car go faster.
Yeah, because although Detroit Speed has got a full build shop that builds high-end, very beautiful custom cars, this car is done to that level, but that's not its purpose. I mean, you guys are going to go out and it's a mule. I mean, for a lack of a better term, right?
Yeah, basically, traditionally, historically, the test cars are always, they're nice cars. They're not always built with the complete same level of final finish detail as the customer cars, mainly because of their purpose. But this third-gen Camaro is kind of an exception. This one was pretty well built with the same level of finish and a lot of the little extra stuff that we sometimes kind of only the customer cars get. This car actually got a lot of that. But despite that, and even with the really nice paint and body that it got, it's still going to be used the same as all our other test cars. It's definitely going to see a lot of road course and track use. It'll see a lot of different autocross use, probably a mixture of SCCA, USCA, and Good Guys Autocross. It is pretty. It was really pretty when it was finished, but it's not going to change how we drive it, I can tell you that.
Well, tell me about some of the parts that y'all offer for these cars.
Basically, with the third gen F-body, we have front and rear suspension packages. One of the more popular and really good upgrades we have is the caster camber plate kit that goes on the strut tower, so you can move the top of the strut around and have a lot more adjustability and range with your caster and camber adjustments. It also has a pretty neat interlocking star mechanism that helps you lock in your adjustment so it doesn't move, and you can also easily repeat your position if you have to take the suspension apart for whatever reason. We have a weight jack kit that basically lets you adjust your ride height and set your corner weights and cross weight, but it allows you to do that without changing to a coilover. And the reason we don't do a coilover on this car, as anybody that's familiar with third gen knows, if you make the diameter of that strut any bigger, it starts to sacrifice tire clearance. So we wanted everybody to get as wide a tire and run as much backspace as they could. So we did the weight jack design, so you get the adjustability and and advantages of coilover without actually doing a coilover on the strut.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, another thing I'll touch on, we do have a front strut kit. We partnered up with JRI Shocks, which is, one of the pretty high-end, one of the more respected professional shock and damper manufacturers in professional motorsports. So we did a strut with them, which we've used on all our other previous suspension systems and platforms. And then we also have a 4-link rear suspension system for the rear, and a rear coilover kit that goes along with that in the back.
What do you do to stiffen these things up?
That's one other, more of a chassis product we have, not so much suspension, but we have a weld-in subframe connector kit that runs the entire length of the rockers down both sides that really helps tie the front and rear together. On this particular car, this car got caged, so the roll cage naturally acts as a way to stiffen the unibody. That is not. We currently don't have a roll cage as a product at the moment for the 3rd gen.
What about that chin spoiler?
Well, okay, the chin spoiler and front end on this car is really unique, and there's a ton of time and work into that. If you followed, or anybody followed the build on Facebook, they saw a lot of that. This car got a complete aftermarket fiberglass nose. The bottom of the nose was then chopped off, and we extended it down, grafted fiberglass in, extended it down to where we wanted to put the splitter. At that point, a custom splitter, actually a splitter was made out of wood to start with to simulate it. Once we had the pattern and size of the splitter we liked, that piece of wood pattern was used to cut one out of composite and make the final splitter. So it is a true competition grade splitter that completely does pan from the front of the front tires all the way to the nose of the car. So it bolts on with quite a few bolts, so you can get it off. You need the service under there, but there's a lot of custom work into modifying that nose and remounting the radiator and lowering everything to piece all that together. It's definitely one of the more interesting parts of the build and of that car.
It looks simple, but it sounds like there's a whole lot more to it.
Yeah, in the photos it kind of just flows and just looks maybe slightly different than stock. But if you get to see the car up close or look at pictures and you really see under the hood and the way the core support and the radiator mounting is moved around, and you see just how much there's not much original Chevrolet structure left in that area of the car at all.
What are you powering this beast with?
This car, we used a pretty unique engine. We had Mass Motorsports build a D-stroked LS7. So it turns out to be a 388 cubic inch motor. It's the first D-stroke motor we've done with them, so it was kind of a little bit of an experiment. So far, we got a little bit of track time this year, not a lot, because the car was finished kind of late in the year, but it definitely can rev higher than most of our other cars. The car can rev to 8,500. Definitely pulls nice all the way to 8,000, where a lot of our other engines kind of peak out at 72, 73, 7,400. So the idea was to take away some torque on the bottom end, so it's a little more drivable, since we do compete and run on these street tires a lot, which don't have a lot of grip, and then make more mid-range and top-end power where you can use the power, and hooking up isn't so much of an issue. And then, of course, having the extra RPM range is really nice on the track from a shifting standpoint, because anytime you can gain a little more RPM, that one corner where you kind of run out of gear and you got a short shift for a second at the end of the straightaway, maybe now you don't, because you have that extra 500-600 RPM to use.
Right. Yeah, no, that's always comes in handy, right?
Mm-hmm.
More RPMs equal better
That's right,
performance,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Well, brother, I'll tell you, that is a very interesting car, and I'm always glad to see when you guys come out with something, because I know it's going to be unique, it's going to be cool, and it's going to be fast, because that's the other thing. Although, even on the show car side, even on the nice high-end build side, if Detroit Speed's name's on it, you can bet you can put a key in it and go drive it anywhere you want to. So, I sure appreciate you giving me some time this morning, though.
Oh, no problem. It's my pleasure.
Before we run, anything else I may not know to ask about the car that's important to know?
I guess one other thing that's pretty unique is it has a true dual exhaust all the way back over the axle with a 4-link, which is actually kind of hard to do. We cut up and modified the stock fuel tank a lot, and basically Andy Stapp, one of our veteran fabricators, really kind of cut and changed the sides and bottom of the fuel tank and actually contoured channels for the exhaust pipes to run through there. You can't see any of that. You have to look under the car, obviously, to see any of that. But that was another part of the car that was a pretty big science project and a lot of work in the fabrication phase.
And that was just to keep everything up high so you could get the car lower?
Yeah, we wanted true duals. Well, we wanted 3-inch also, true 3-inch dual exhaust all the way out the back. You know, we didn't want to dump it. We didn't want to do side pipes outside. We didn't want to dump it under the car in front of the axle. You know, we wanted to get the 3-inch pipes over the axle and all the way out the back of the car like a true finished street car. And it's just hard to, in general, it's just hard to do on these third-gen Camaros because of the fuel tank being right above the rear end. So we did a lot of trick fabrication on that fuel tank to make it happen.
Cool. If people are interested in getting in touch with you for parts and things like that, what's the best way to do that?
The best thing to do is you can check out the website, which is www.detroitspeed.com. You know, or anybody can call the main number, you know, at 704-662-3272, and we have a full sales staff, 5 or 6 guys that are, you know, here every day to answer the phone, so you can call direct and, you know, and talk to an actual human being, which these days is getting harder and harder to do when you call companies. You know, you can talk to a guy and ask questions and just place an order here verbally direct if you want. We also have a pretty large dealer network, Summit, and a lot of hot rod shops throughout the country that you can also go through. But a lot of people like to call and deal direct here.
Yeah, I would think if you have the availability to call the manufacturer of the part and deal with them directly, that's the cool way to do it. But
yeah,
it's also nice too if you're ordering a bunch of stuff at Summit and you wanted to pick up something Detroit Speed on the way out the door, you can get that thrown in on the shipping too. So
yep.
I really appreciate your time this morning. I know Christmas is right around the corner. Everybody's trying to get out the door, so I won't take any more of your time, Ryan, but thanks so much, brother.
Yeah, thank you. We appreciate the interest and look forward to talking to you in the future.
So there you go, from the SEMA Show 2017, the 1987 Detroit Speed IROC. I hate to call it an IROC because it wasn't an IROC, and it's so much more than an IROC now, but what do they call it? The DSE Z. Hope y'all have enjoyed it. See ya! Hey y'all, make sure you subscribe to this channel and visit ScottieDTV.com for an easy way to search the hundreds of videos I have posted. Either click the link in the description or the one at the end of this video.